All right, good evening. Like all quiet and serious. So welcome to Lawrence Middle School. We're really excited for you to be here. You're going to learn a lot tonight about the middle school. How many of you are nervous about your students coming to middle school? We're going to wipe away all of those fears for you. It's a great place. Hopefully you saw that in some of the pictures that you got to see just now. Happy faces through here. We really have a fabulous staff. So we're going to be telling you a little bit about the middle school curriculum tonight. You're going to hear from our supervisors, our instructional supervisors. And at the end, we'll take some questions. I will be putting the PowerPoint up on our website, Facebook, and all those things, and I'll tell you where you can find all those things. I don't think I introduced myself. I'm Mindy Malasky. I'm the principal. Unfortunately, Mr. Buczynski, who is our assistant principal, he had a family emergency, and about at 6 o'clock he had to run out of here. So he does apologize for not being here tonight, but you will meet him in the future. Okay, so some facts about the middle school. We have 2 grades, 7th and 8th grade. We've got 600 kids here at the middle school, and we have a house system. So you're going to hear a lot about the house system. And you cannot call and say, I really want my kid with this house or this house. It'll be okay. Okay? I would be happy to meet with you if you need to speak with me in the summertime and you want to just chit-chat about your child. So that we can better place them if you feel that that's something that you would like to do. We do set up times for that in the summertime. But this is about us. We have 60-minute blocks. So all of our classes run for an hour. We have 6 periods in the day and a lunch period. That's the most important thing. The lunch, but they do like the lunch. It is a step up, and I tell them that all the time when they come for their orientation. They do look forward to the pizza. Is a little different. We do serve French fries. They do make fresh sandwiches every day. I mean, some of you are laughing. Some of you are like, why is she telling me this? But that's important for your kids to know that the lunch is pretty good here. All right. And I would use the pay point system if I were you, because they lose stuff and they forget everything. Something happens to them when they get into 7th and 8th grade. And if you keep coming and bringing them their work and their stuff, you will have to keep doing that all year. You don't want to start that habit. So an easy way to break that is just to put the money in the account. You can also see what they eat, so that's always a good way to do it. We have our math classes, our language arts classes meet every single day. Something that is similar to the intermediate school but different is our science and our social studies are similar in the fact that they are semester-based courses, that they meet for the first 2 marking periods and then the second 2 marking periods, the 3rd and 4th marking period. So for your incoming 7th graders, they will start with social studies. And they will have social studies marking period 1 and 2, and then they will go to science. Then the following year in 8th grade, they start with science, and then they go into social studies. The reason for that is that they will have to take an assessment in science. I almost said New Jersey Ask, but it's not doing New Jersey Ask anymore. But they will have to take an end-of-course assessment in science, so we like to start the year with having science in the 8th grade year. And they seem to like that. That's a little bit different than what I think they're familiar with at the intermediate school. World language and health they have every single day. Our world language is by trimester. We give them a little bit of everything. So they have Chinese, they have French, and they have Spanish. You'll hear more about this. And they take all 3. That way in 8th grade, they can make a really good choice about what they want to take. And hopefully they'll take that to high school. However, at the high school, there's actually more languages that they can take. So if they want to stick with the language that they had here, they can do that, or they can choose to go on another level in another language. Phys Ed, art, music, and technology, they meet every other day. They get everything. They get art, music, and technology. They also are trimester courses. So they meet 13 weeks in the trimester. We have a gifted and talented program, which you'll hear about tonight. We do a lot of team activities and team building. We have 2 guidance counselors in this building. One of them is actually going to be going on maternity leave, and we have our replacement that is here. Ms. Freitag is here, and she will be taking over. She's little, but she's mighty there. And she's actually working in the district now at Ben Franklin, so we're really excited that she's going to be moving here to the middle school. We do have a child study team that consists of 2 school psychologists and a social worker, and they do work with everybody. Right? This is a full guided student services staff. If you're not aware, middle school is tough. Okay, they're going through a lot of changes, and you're like, who are they? They are not my child. But we are fully equipped to handle them, and we love them. So we're very excited that they're here with us. We have an academic support program, which we have in reading, language arts, and math. It is a supplemental program. Again, you'll hear about that as we move on. We have an extensive ESL program, very extensive special education program, and as you know, we have a one-to-one laptops. We hopefully are getting the nice books that your 6th graders have. We do not have those, but we are getting something similar to that, I'm hoping, for next year. As we get ready for the park. As I said, we have a house structure. So what does that mean? That means that we have 600 kids, there's 200 kids on a house, 100 7th graders and 100 8th graders. And we have a lot of competition. So as soon as your student enters this building, they belong to something. And that's important. They find their identity by that. That means they're being active in the house or doing activities, or they're just doing what they're supposed to do. They belong to something right away. And for a middle schooler, that's important. So it's a smaller learning community. They will have a group of teachers. Some teachers they will have for 2 years. Some teachers they may only have for 1 year, but they have a house group of teachers that talk about them in a good way. But it's for them to grow and to meet success. So it's that smaller learning, so they're not mixed up in a whole school of 600 kids. They have that smaller learning community with the house, and they recognize that we have symbols, we have team building. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of competitions, as I said. We have house leaders, and these are your go-to people. Do not be shy. If you have questions, these are the people that you want to talk to. So right now, in Phoenix House is Mrs. Bozarth, in our Draco House, Mrs. Reynolds. Orion is Mrs. Buczynski. And again, like I said, this is your first one. If you're not comfortable going to the guidance counselor or straight to the teacher, this is a great person to go to because they know everything. And I mean that. Our instructional supervisors. So Barbara Beers is here. Think loud for her. Barbara Beers is our humanities supervisor, and what's nice about our instructional supervisors, you can notice they are 7 through 12. So they're the same people that you get to meet now, and you will have until they graduate, which is a nice thing. Dr. Bruce is our special education supervisor, grades 7 through 21. Ken Mason, who is unable to be here tonight, he is the athletic director and he's the health and PE supervisor. Mr. Mormile is our guidance and career readiness supervisor, K through 12, and then Yvette Panasowich over here. She's got a lot of titles. Some of that is changing actually, but she is our STEM supervisor and practical arts, again, 7 through 12. I say changing because we are getting another supervisor, and it's going to be taking a combination of the humanities and a little bit of combination of Yvette, so you'll meet him in the fall when we start. This is a big change. Look now. This is hard for them. It's hard for you, I know. 7:45 is a big change for them in the very beginning. Practice that in the summertime a little bit. Wake them up early, get them here. Attendance becomes a real big piece of it. Getting here on time is huge. And we're really doing that because we're preparing them for high school. Now, high school attendance is even more important because it's a requirement for graduation. You can be in a class and get an A, and if you've missed and you've gone over that attendance limit, and that includes lates, because they add up, 3 lates equals an absence, you could lose credit for a course. So we really, really, really want to prepare our kids early, and that means in 7th grade. So this is for some of them, because they've been used to being at the intermediate school that starts later. And as we know, research says that teenagers this age probably need the most sleep, and we should be the ones probably starting at 9 o'clock. But this is what it is. So 7:45 is the start of the school day. When they first come in, they are put in the auditorium and the cafeteria, the gym. We have a holding period with staff, and they cannot enter the building until 7:25. So if they're walkers or you're going to be driving them to school, they actually have to wait out front until 7:25. That's when our staff first comes on. Okay? And then they can come in and then we dismiss them about 7:37 through the hallway so they can go to their locker, drop all their stuff off, get to where they need to be. They all have a locker. Another thing that sometimes gets people nervous. They have their hallway locker and they have a gym locker. And they have to be able to organize themselves. That's a huge part of middle school is that organization piece. Early dismissal is 12:15, and again, our building opens at 7:25. So ways to communicate with us. This is huge, because I know at the intermediate school, we have a very active PTO, we have a great website. This is the way that we communicate. We have parent access to PowerSchool. How many people have been on PowerSchool here? Fabulous! Good job. Very good audience. You are going to practice being on PowerSchool. Do not, I warn you now, and I will say this to you every time I'm in front of you, do not come on every day. You will make yourself crazy. It will not be accurate. Then you will make your child crazy, because you will be hounding them. Do not do it. Do not do it to yourself. It will automatically, you can also schedule it so it automatically gives you updates. Again, do not do it so it's automatically updating you every time a teacher enters a grade, because you will be getting a lot of emails. Okay, so you don't want to do that. Again, it may not give you an accurate reflection of what that test score is or the grade that they have in there, because of the way that the teacher sets up their grade. Once a week is okay. We give you permission for that. Okay? But really, we also want your child to take some ownership. This is their time. So now what's nice about PowerSchool is you can have your own PowerSchool check-in, and they can go on in as well, as the child can go in and check their grades, and they do that. And we can monitor that. We can see how many kids are going on and checking and so forth, and the times that you're doing it. We know that you're doing it at 1 a.m. So it's not, again, it's there. One of the things that's nice about it is it has a daily bulletin. We update the daily bulletin so you can get announcements. Things that are happening here at the middle school, activities, if things are canceled, we try to post them there as well. We try to keep it up to date as much as possible, but you can get automatic emails from that. The LTPS website always has tons of things. I don't know if I have this as a link or not. It looks like I do, but I can't remember. And there we go. So we try, right now we're getting ready for the 8th grade end of the year. We're asking for pictures. They just went last Friday to the band trip in Hershey. So we try to keep it updated as much as possible. There's the school information on the quick side on the left. But we try to put lots of different things in the center for you to click on and get information. So it's a really good place to go to find out what's happening here at the middle school. Have any of you downloaded the app? There is an app, and you can get this as well, all of this information on the app. I think that's not it. Okay. Teacher websites. All of our teachers have a website. They keep lots of information there about assignments, long-term assignments, things that are coming up, what you need for that class in terms of supplies, the expectations, when a test or quiz is, maybe they even have the worksheets there. Kids usually will submit work onto a teacher's website, so that's a lot of information is there. We do a lot of alert now, phone dialers. They can be annoying at sometimes because it will go to your phone, your home phone, your husband's phone, your child's phone, because we want you to know. So whatever that is, and you're used to that because we got a lot of snow, we want snow on the cancellation list. I promise I will not sing to you. But we will be calling you just to remind you. The same thing, if we have to just do short alerts, that's how we do it. Daily bulletins, I talked about, that's part of Power School. Facebook, we have a Facebook page. Similar to what our website looks like, that's what our Facebook page looks like as well. You can get that on the app, or you can like us, or at LMS Nation, and we post lots of things that are happening. And we also have a Twitter account, and I'm not sure why I didn't put that on here, but we do have a Twitter account, also LMS Nation, and we try to post things as things are happening. More on Twitter, we do not necessarily announcements, but like a career day yesterday, so we took pictures during the career day and we posted that. Things like that, we'll do on Twitter. And then quick news, and I'm sure this audience, since you're an A+ audience, you already have signed up for quick news and so forth. All right, so this is what Power School looks like. This is actually a high school kid, because I know his mom, so I took his sheet, and you can click on anything that's blue. This was at the beginning of the school year. But where it has email notifications, that's how you can change things from this side. You can look at the grades, the grade history, the attendance history. But anything that's in blue, you can click on and it will take you somewhere. So this is the American Civ. They have Mr. Wolf. You can click on the grades, and then everything in that other column you can click on as well. And it'll take you somewhere. Okay. This is probably the part that people get mostly confused about. It is our schedule. It's really not that difficult. However, when you don't do it, as parents, it looks crazy. But your kids get it, okay? In the beginning, they'll learn, they'll figure out where they need to go. They may be late the first week. We're not going to penalize them for being late to class in the first couple weeks of school. We know that there is time that they need to get familiar with their schedule. But we have a rotating schedule, and we have 5 different schedules, okay? So it looks very intimidating, but it really is not. You can see on an A day, it's a shorter periods of classes. At the beginning, I told you we have 60-minute classes, but on an A day, we have shorter periods, and that's a straight day. And at the end of the day, we have some type of activity. So when you see the red light counter that's going to be on the website, and it has an A, that's what the day looks like. So when you're planning your orthodontist appointments, because that's usually what it is, this is how you can kind of figure out when is a good time to take them to the dentist, okay, or to the doctor based on their schedule. But at the end of the day, we usually have house relays, we have rehearsals for band and orchestra. Tomorrow we are having our arts festival, so we have a special assembly at the end of the day. So it's already planned, so we're not taking them out of classes. We already have this plan in the schedule for the entire year. We're going to plan out our special days and our assemblies around the A day. And then the other schedules, B through E, on this is just rotating. And that means we have 6 classes. 5th period always stays the same because that's lunch. We found that it got confusing if we changed that period each day because they didn't know what lunch they had to go to. So that's why we keep 5th the way that it is. The reason that 6th period stays the way that it is because we share staff with the high school, and for them contractually to get what they need, we had to keep that period where it is, so that stays there. This can change. And right now we're actually looking and talking as a staff if this schedule meets all of our needs. Most likely it will stay this way, but it could be a little bit different. Okay, so it just gives you an idea, whatever their period 1 would be, it changes during that day. So they might have math at the beginning of the day, and they could have math at the end of the day. And what's nice about that is, if your kid's not a morning kid, and they're an afternoon kid, and they have that teacher in the afternoon, they're seeing kind of a different kid, which is nice for both groups, teacher and student. We have a cardinal code. I know everybody in this room knows that we are a national district of character, but we take a lot of pride in that, and being that we are also a school of character. We were awarded that last year, and we also have 2 promising practices. So we are very proud of what we do here, and that's based on our cardinal code. So we talk a lot about being ready, being respectful, being responsible. They're going to hear it all the time. And then we define that. What does that mean? What does that look like? They hear it over and over again. So we do a lot of activities and things surrounding our cardinal code. All right, enough of me talking. I'm going to have Barbara talk a little bit about language arts, social studies, fine arts, performing arts.
Anything that doesn't require a computer or a calculator. Okay. All right. Language arts. It's straight language arts 7, language arts 8. And in that, it is a literature-based curriculum, but it focuses on all the language arts, whether it be the improvement of writing, the improvement of vocabulary, just any rich literary experiences that the students need and enjoy. The literature in both 7th and 8th grade it's interesting to them. It's I think appropriate to them, to their levels, and it is also differentiated too. So if you have children who are the readers, the ones who absolutely love to read, we've got stuff for them. The reluctant readers, we get them too, and bring them in. And with our ASI classes, as Mindy said, that's academic support instruction, that's support. That's an additional period where the struggling reader, the struggling writer needs just that little extra time in a small class, in a small group. Our ASI classes are typically maybe 8 students. So it's a nice time for the student to work almost individually with the teachers. Social studies, as Mindy said, it's a half year. Your children will come in September, and it's a continuation of 6th grade in that it's ancient history going up to Greece and Rome. As far as world languages, 7th grade is our exploratory program. They have basically a trimester of each of the languages: Chinese, French, Spanish. And they get to learn a little bit about the culture and certainly the language. They get some basics in there of each of the languages. And you will be amazed at how your children come out of there speaking. They really do. Especially when I walk into those classes, I actually hear them speaking the languages. And that's terrific. That's wonderful. Hopefully they will love a language so much that then at the end of 7th grade, they get to choose which one they want to focus on in 8th grade. And then they can pursue that. Our 8th grade program strives to get these students ready for level 2 of a language so that they can go into high school and then go on 2, 3, 4, and advanced places. As we said, in high school, they also do have the opportunity to either stay with those 3 languages, one of those 3, or they can take Italian or Latin. And they can double up, which I would recommend. I would always say take Latin and something else. Just same with my English teacher. It's like coming out, you need the Latin. Fine and performing arts, a terrific program here. And I'm so excited that tomorrow with our Fine Arts Festival, we got a grant to support that. Every student in the school is involved in it in some fashion. So we really do, that's the part where we get the kids to explore their passions, what they like to do, whether it be art, music, and music, it can be band, it can be chorus, it can be orchestra. That's the important part, not just of school, but of life too. What you want to do. And that may end up being something a lifelong passion of yours. If I'm seeing if there's anything else, the general music is a basic, a book course where they learn about music. It's not a practical kind of thing. They're not playing music, they're learning about it. Our ESL is for our students who, and it's not just for students who are typically classified or formally classified as English language learners. We also support them in their other classes. So our teacher can go into their classes. She works with them in the seminar classes also to help them. Because it takes a while for a child to learn to become not just fluent in English, but to have an academic knowledge of the language. So I think that's my area. A few things there, and hand over. By the way. Oh, okay. Co-Curricular, and I can talk about that. We have concerts. We have a very, very strong drama program. Again, we encourage every student to participate in some form. If your child loves to be on stage, we've got a place for him or her. If not, if they want to work behind the scenes, that's great too. We can accommodate that. We've got concerts. Last Friday, as Mindy said, we had the band went to Hershey Park. They performed there. In addition to it just being a fun trip, they actually performed and they received 2 awards for their performance, 2 awards lessons. The lessons are integrated into their class schedule so that they are not being pulled out of class, which is a nice thing. That's a good thing. Applause for that. Okay, they don't get pulled out of class. That's it. First, I'd like to take a quick poll. How many of you are interested in learning about the criteria for gifted and talented? Good. Every district, I'm Priscilla Taylor. I teach a gifted and talented program here in middle school for both 7th and 8th grade. Every district in New Jersey does it differently. So here in Lawrence Township, we use 6 criteria. Children are reevaluated every summer. So probably by early August to mid-August of this year, you'll be receiving a letter from the district which will tell you whether or not your child is qualified for the gifted and talented program here in the middle school. So the 6 criteria that the district uses, scores both in NWEA reading and math, timed writing. We use the gifted and talented analytical test scores from 2 years. So your child just took a test in February in middle school. We use the scores from February as well as the scores from 5th grade. And also a teacher recommendation. So there are 6 areas of criteria, but in order to be identified as gifted and talented, your child has to meet 4 out of the 6 criteria. So usually what happens in September, a parent will call and say, my child missed getting into the program by 1 point, and that's not correct, because there are 6 different areas, so there could be many percentage points that they miss. So there are, as I said, there are certain scores in every area, and in order to be identified as gifted and talented, there must be 4 out of the 6 areas to get into the program. So here in the middle school, our focus is on 21st century skills in the gifted and talented program. It's not a pull-out program. It's a standalone program. It's very exciting that the kids meet with me all year long, and we meet every other day. So they either see me on their red days or their white days. And the areas we cover, the 4 C's: collaboration, creativity, communication, critical thinking, and then I add a fifth C, what I call choice. Because no matter what topic we're studying, I give the students a choice of topic. So what their interest is, they're allowed to study that in depth. Good evening. Things have been easy. We're going to get into the more complicated things at this point. And I do want to say I typically field a lot of questions about mathematics. We had a math night about a month ago, and I'll be more than happy to answer individual math questions at the end of this evening. I'm here to give you a broader overview of the programs of which I supervise. So, I just want to go back. Who remembers summations? And how are we teaching it here at the middle school? How does that work? Come on, this is a quiz. In 7th grade, your child will receive science instruction the second semester, which are marking periods 3 and 4. The 7th grade science curriculum focuses on life science and a touch of environmental science. The life science foundation that we're going to get is paramount, because I just spent 2 full days testing high school students in a course, in an important assessment called the end of course biology assessment. So the foundation of what we're going to use as a springboard in the high school is very paramount here in the 7th grade. In 8th grade, they take science which semesters? Very good, very good. First and second semesters. And again, this is to accommodate the state testing that happens right now this year and in past years has been in late March and late April and early May. That curriculum focuses on physical science. So we do a little bit of chemistry, we do a little bit of means through laws, etc. And again, that is also a foundation for higher science courses over at the high school. I also get to supervise the technology department, and that is one teacher, but 2 different classes. It's the trimester format. Not only do we focus on some robotics and engineering, and we have a Legos program, not our kind of Legos you had when we were younger, but we have things that they program in, and they make robots, and they do a lot with that. But this is also where we teach them about internet safety. That is a state law that we have to do that. And we also teach them things. Currently, all middle school students have a web page of their own that they designed in technology class that they use to support their success in other classes. They can submit all of their homework through the web page that they create. We teach them Excel spreadsheets and other things. We think that our kids do come wired these days. And we know that they can play a lot of games, but some of these things that may seem simplistic to us that use these programs every day aren't necessarily intuitive to our children. They don't always know how to use a spreadsheet or create a spreadsheet. So we help them for that, and then again, we try and connect that as best we can to what they're doing in their academic classes, so they understand the relevancy and the power that using a program to organize yourself and your data can be for them in everyday life. And here we go. Buckle your seatbelts. We're going to talk about math now. And math is very different than our other subjects because we have specific courses. There's 7th grade science, 7th grade language arts, social studies, math not so much. The math class that your student will enter into here at the middle school is dependent upon where they are at the intermediate school. So the courses that we offer are 7th grade math, all related to the Common Core, lines of Common Core, and nationally that's where 7th graders should be. We're not behind. It's where nationally they should be. We offer a class called Accelerated Math 7. I'm older than dirt, right? We used to call that pre-algebra. Or it is the most pre-algebra-like course that you all may be more familiar with is Accelerated Math 7. There's 8th grade math, Algebra 1, Algebra 1A. I'll back up. Algebra 1, you do all of the algebra curriculum in one school year. It's like being someone that finishes in the top 10 of the Boston Marathon. You need to be that kind of a math student. We have Algebra 1A, which is one half of the Algebra 1 curriculum over a full school year. The pace isn't as fast. We do the same depth of material, but we're able to take material slower to have the students better grasp that than in a very quick process that we use in Algebra 1. We also offer geometry honors, but again, there's a sequence to your math. So, I will share with you that we don't take the students' names and throw them down the steps, and the ones who land the furthest get to be in the highest math class, whatever you want to call it. There are criteria. I know it may be hard for you to read that. It is being posted on the website in conjunction with the math informational that we had last month. But we do have criteria. And what you're most interested in is, what math class can my child be placed into? If your child is currently in 6th grade math, there are 2 options for placement based on these criteria. Students will be placed into 7th grade math, which is where they're supposed to be mentioned. The other option is the Math 7 Accelerated. What that is everything you're going to learn in the 7th grade math course plus half of what they learn in 8th grade. Again, we're running a marathon here. Very quick paced class for students that have the natural math ability to do that. So as 6th grade parents, that is where your children would be placed into. If they are currently in pre-algebra in 6th grade, there's the Algebra 1A or Algebra 1. Just put the slide, it just goes with other criteria that are applicable to students as they move through the math program here at the middle school. Again, I know it's small, it'll all be posted, it's being shared with you. Some of these numbers you can't change. You can't change an NWEA score. You can't change an NJF score. They are what they are. 3 of 4 criteria are needed for placement. And when they have 2 or 4, I'm afraid. And again, we do look at this, but this is what we're using as our placement criteria. And we work very hard to maintain it because there's purpose behind the values that have been set. So again, what does it look like? Everyone, what does the math career look like? Take a minute, find out where your child is, follow it across. That's a potential math sequence for them here at the middle school. Now I'm going to show you what it could possibly look like once they leave and go across the driveway and what math might look like there. And again, it is all dependent upon where they come into us and where they leave and go over to the high school. So again, I'll be more than happy to talk particulars and ways to move around, but I just wanted to share with you right now all of the options that are available and some of the rationale as to how students are placed within their math courses. I didn't think the next slide was mine.
All right, I'm filling in for Mr. Mason and Mr. Buczynski at this point. So Health 7, they're going to have to take Health and PE. Health 7 is a little bit of sex ed, human body systems, alcohol, drugs, and first aid and CPR. And then there's eating disorders and skin tissues in Health 8. They go into extensively, there's different topics in the sex ed in both 7th and 8th grade. They do more parenting In the 8th grade, they probably heard about the Egg Baby Project. That happens in the 8th grade year. 7th grade, we talk about relationships, decision making. It's a hotbed of topics in middle school. This is when they're starting to ask questions, things are changing. So health, they enjoy health, taking health, and they have great teachers as well. The athletic program, how many of your students will be involved in athletics? Very good crowd, very good. Okay, so here at the middle school, we start in the fall with soccer and field hockey. We have girls and boys teams in both of them. It is a tryout. We only have an A team in both of them. It depends on who comes out for the team and how many they take. They want the kids to be able to play, so you're not going to take 30 kids. But we do take a significant number of kids. We want your kids to try out. We want them to come out for athletics. You need to make sure they have a physical. The physical lasts for a full year. So if you were to get your physical in June, have your child get a physical in June, they would be eligible for the fall season, the winter season, and the spring season. Okay? If they get a physical in November, and you don't renew it in November, they will not be eligible for the winter and the spring season. Okay? So it's important, whenever you get that either you're renewing it when you need to renew it, or you get it in the summer and then you're good for the whole year. We start pretty much the second week of school. We will have announcements, we'll have a tryout period. The tryouts usually last for about a week. They post them and then they start games. It's like very quick when they start. And then they go to about October for the fall season. Start in November around Thanksgiving time for the basketball season. In the fall and the winter we have basketball, basketball boys and girls, cheerleading and wrestling. And then in the spring we have softball, baseball, and track. We have intramurals in between there. So in the fall we have intramural basketball. In the spring, or kind of winter and spring, we have volleyball, and now they are doing a combination, I think, of soccer and dodgeball, and that comes from what the kids want to do in the springtime. The intramural kids get to participate in our annual staff versus student games, so we have a staff versus student basketball game that they look forward to, and we have a staff versus student volleyball game. It's very competitive. I see that you're into that. Yes, it's very competitive. The students have won. It came down to the last shot that he made a three-pointer at the very end to tie it up, right, Mr. Rowe? It was a very ill pass. Mr. Freeman dropped the ball and from half court. It was an amazing shot. The place went nuts. And it was right before the winter break, so it was like, ah! But it was a lot of fun. And we always have a good time for all of those games. So there's a lot of opportunity. We want your kids to get involved. If it's not athletics, then there's clubs and activities which I'll go over. We do have them do impact testing, and that's for a concussion screening that they will have to take. They take a computer test before the season begins. And if, unfortunately, something does happen, we can test them again. But all students that are involved in the athletic program, actually have everybody take the impact testing, so that's important. Eligibility, they have to be passing their classes. Right? That's the main thing here, that they have to be minimally passing with a D, and they have to be in good standing. Academics, attendance, all of those things. Again, this is getting them prepared for high school. High school, it's an upgrade, because they are following the NJSIAA rules, and you have to be passing absolutely all of your classes and have a certain GPA at the high school level. But our main thing is getting kids to participate and coming out. In basketball, we have A and B teams. I don't think I said that, and in cheerleading as well in the winter. So this is, you see some of our fun stuff. This guy's got in the corner here, he's got an Oreo because we do minute to win it. We do have a lot of fun assemblies. We do a lot of community service types of activities here. This is what I was just going over about boys and girls soccer, field hockey, winter, boys and girls basketball, cheerleading, wrestling, track and field, softball, baseball, and then the intramurals as you can see there. One more time here. And then clubs. So we have student council where they are elected as officers, and they run lots of different activities. We have a great yearbook. kids taking pictures and doing lots of things and designing the actual yearbook themselves. We have a school store, and it's open every day after school. There's some snacks. We also sell some clothing. We have a homework club after school. We have a morning announcements. I didn't introduce Mrs. Kramer, who's here in the front. She is our media specialist librarian extraordinaire, and she also runs WLMS, which is our morning announcements. We have kids that are doing them. We have a Special Olympics program, a social club. We have a destinations after-school workshop. So you'll get a program of different after-school workshops. Some of those things are to work on test-taking skills. We have a Literary Nation, which is our literary magazine, where they put poems together, short stories, pictures, drawings, photographs. It's a beautiful book that they put together. It actually was online. And we have it, that is part of our after-school workshop program. We have History Bowl after school, which is part of our after-school destinations program. We will be having destinations this summer, and for our 7th graders, it's a great opportunity for them to get familiar with this building and meet teachers and understand the expectations. So they get a little bit of work in the summer, and then they also can familiarize themselves. And it is a much different when you see the kids that actually have taken advantage of coming here in the summertime, and when they start in September, they're really cool because they know the building. And they can recognize teachers, they know teachers by name, and they've gotten them kind of acclimated to the building. So you'll be getting notice of that very soon to sign up. So if you're around, it's 9 to 11, Monday through Thursday, and it starts after July 4th and runs about 4 weeks. And as Barbara was saying, we have a great drama club. They have been working since December, I think, and they're just finishing up tomorrow will be their last performance. So they've done a lot of fun stuff after school together, and they really bonded, which is nice. And then we have lots of different things. We have dances. In the beginning, they're really popular, and then they start to fizzle out, towards the middle of the year to the end. We do have an 8th grade celebration. We have a 7th grade picnic. We have an 8th grade field trip that we go on annually, snow tubing, which we have a fabulous time, and the teachers volunteer to go with us, and it's a lot of fun. We have lots of different field trips. We do a career day, a tech day, we have Model UN, we have geography day, I talked about History Bowl. We recognize students all the time. We do drawings and lots of activities where we try to recognize students, so we do also Student of the Month. We have house relays, field day, and we do quarterly award ceremonies. And I find that that's a really important thing because each marking period we recognize kids for making honor roll, high honor roll, perfect attendance, if they've been in clubs and activities. It's a nice time. We keep it to an hour. They get certificates, we take pictures, and their parents and their friends are here to support them. And that's really the great thing when you're in middle school. You will have to bring them kicking and screaming, but you need to bring them because they will appreciate it at the end. It's very interesting. A lot of times when they're here and they're going through those ups and downs in the middle school years, and you're about to pull your hair out, but the very last day we do something here where our 8th graders walk out of the building and they walk through our 7th graders. Our 7th graders lie in the hallway. And our 8th graders are crying. They're crying because they love it here and they don't want to leave. They won't admit that to you when they're here. But they're bawling. And then they want to come back in September, like they're in high school now, but they really do, and they take full advantage of what we have here. It's a really nice school. It's better than a nice school. I think it's a great school. We have great people here. And if they make the most out of their opportunities, they're going to enjoy it. And it's a lot of fun. So, yep. All right. One of the things I wanted to, before I get to questions, I did make a note, because I saw some people that came through the back. And that's okay, but we normally come through the front, and we park in the lot between the middle school and high school. The back door tends not to be open when we have events like this. We ask people to come through the front, and that's a security issue as well. I think it was open tonight, or somebody in the back there let you in. But if you're lost, that's kind of, to come through the front, but somebody will be there. We also have a doorbell. We buzz you in when you come in, lakes like this, it would be open and someone would be standing there. Some advertisement. We are going to be going to the intermediate school. We will have students going with our house leader, myself and Mr. Buczynski, to do a presentation to your students at the intermediate school. So they will learn about the middle school from kids. We have 7th and 8th graders that go down there. That's June 5th, and that's for kids only. The next day is June 6th. The same presentation that our kids do at the intermediate school, we will be doing here. And I know on the schedule it said to be determined. It's going to be at 9 o'clock here in the auditorium. It's going to be similar to what you heard, okay, that you're going to get a kid's perspective. And you're also going to be here during the day. And I find that that's important for you as parents to kind of get a feel for the building during the day, so that you can see what's happening here. So it starts at 9, and we'll be here in the auditorium, and you're probably going to be hearing some of the same things that you just heard, but again, it comes from the kids. You won't have to listen to me all that much. But that's 9 o'clock on June 6th. Talked about summer destinations, and then the 7th grade orientation is August 27th. And everybody goes, oh, we're away on vacation, and can they take a tour? We will have some tours that are set up in the summertime. We'll have certain days that are set up, and we also will be opening the building up. I'm not sure the exact date, because I haven't memorized that calendar yet in my head, but I think it's the following Wednesday, whatever it's after the 27th, before the school starts. We'll open the school for about an hour, so you can come in and just kind of walk, get the lay of the land. So if you missed the orientation, you can come in, try your locker, walk around, you'll have your schedule. We actually mail home the schedule, so you'll see your periods, and you can, this is something that we're trying, we've never done it before. It's something that's new, we felt that that would kind of ease some fears on that first day. All right, questions? Yes, go ahead in the back. Yes, you do. You have to get changed. It's all good. It's all good. You bring your clothes, you have a locker in the changing room. Nobody's looking at you. They don't want to get changed in front of you either, so no one's looking at anybody. And you're in there for about 4 minutes. You go out and you come back in. So you'll make it. 600 will do it. And everybody's lived. Good question. The brave one in the back. The kid asked the question. Come on, Mary. Bring it on.
And I'm afraid of the houses. Do you still do it as instruments or not?
No. Okay, so the question that always is, well, that house, Draco House is the orchestra house, and that's where all the smart kids are, and then the band kids are in Phoenix, and then Orion, you don't want to be there. Well, that's not true. So tell your friends, okay? One of the things about this schedule is that we created is so that we would eliminate that. So, Touch is grade, 8th grade. 10th grade they were. The orchestra kids were on, mostly on Draco, and Phoenix had most of the band kids. But the 7th grade, they are spread across. Okay, so we have inclusion classes on every house. We have OCR classes on every house. ESL, they're on every house. So we try to even them. And you can tell this by, and I try to give as much information as possible out there. If you look at our data from honor roll and high honor roll, you will see it's even across the board. Pretty off maybe 2 or 3, but it's pretty much even across the board because we have algebra 1 and geometry on every house. It's not just, it's not the haves and the have-nots. Okay, so be assured, what we do is we look at the numbers. And I see how many classes how many math 7s do I have, how many algebra 1s do we have, how many now math 7 accelerated, algebra 1 8s, and I try to spread that across all 3 houses. And that's how also now, it doesn't really matter what instrument you play, because we created this where it's no longer a pull-out, it's a standalone for your lessons, you don't have to do that anymore. Good question, thank you for bringing that up. Yes?
The sports that's something that's done here at the school, or is that something you provide with the?
You can do that on your own. There's a packet of information that you have to take to your pediatrician. We do have them, but it's on a limited basis. If you need to get a physical here, and those dates get advertised, I don't know exactly when she advertises them, that you can get a physical before each of the seasons. But it's probably better, yes, it's online, and I believe it's on the nurse's page, and if it's not there, then just call the nurse's office and she can fax it to you or email it to you. Yes? Why do we have the cross? It's a good question, and I can't necessarily answer that. You stumped me there. I can't, I don't know. Yes. Yes, thank you, very good. Okay, we do have an after-school bus, it is at 4 o'clock. So all of the after-school workshops, everything goes to 4. Athletics, though, goes to 5. And there's not a bus for that. Okay, but all of the after-school stuff, you know, the regular clubs and activities, everything goes to 4, and it's Monday through Friday, but there's an early bus. And sport, yeah, they can do both. So they have to work that out with their coach. It tends that if they're in soccer, the fall season, they probably aren't going to be going to that many student council meetings. They might meet with the advisor during the day at some point as a check-in, and then when they're not on season, then they'll be able to go to the meetings at that point. But there's things that they can do also on their own that necessarily they might not need to do after school with the group if it's a club. But during the season, it's very difficult because you need to be at practice, especially the day before a game, otherwise you're not going to be in the game. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like student council runs all year. So the yearbook runs all year, they can join at any time. You don't have, if you don't join in September, that doesn't mean you can't be part of it. So you just have to put an interest in, and you can join at any time.
I have a lot of friends ask me if my child doesn't do an instrument, what do I do? I mentioned cardinal time, but I don't know how to explain
Okay, okay. Okay, so we have, and we didn't have it listed here, what a student's, what they take. So they take math full year, language arts is a period, health and PE is a period, science and social studies as a period, and then they take world language and related arts together. Okay, and what that means is it's every other day. So that's the red-white. You heard someone say red-white when we were presenting. And that's when the schedule gets confusing. But they have it every other day, so on a red day, they have art, and on the white day, they might have French. Okay, and that's all year like that. The last period, that 6th period, can be a combination with lots of different things. You heard Priscilla talk about the Gifted in Towns program. That could be during that period in the 6 block every other day. Or they can have seminar, which we offer, which is a language arts or math by semester. And we created that because of the rigorous Common Core. It is hard. You know, we laugh about the math and the change of the math, but it's serious. And then I'm sure some of you have been struggling with the math. You know, you look at it and it doesn't look like what you did when you were in school. And you're like, how am I supposed to help my child when I don't even get it? So we created what we call seminar to twice touch our kids. So they get a little bit of extra. It's not necessarily test prep, but it's things that we felt that are important skills that they may not get in the regular language arts or math curriculum that we can spend more time on in seminar. So they could have seminar, and then we have what's called cardinal time. So cardinal time is to address our character ed piece. It's to get some study time as well, but it's mainly our character development. So we talk a lot about him. And it's in the middle school, unfortunately, we have to talk about him a lot. And we don't know what HIB is, it's harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So we go extensively into what that law means, how to report, what you need to know about it, That's where our service projects happen. We did a big project, coupons, that's what it's called, coupons. And it was bringing in coupons for the troops that are overseas. Our kids had to count, calculate, package, send. We did Teens for Teens projects all year this year, where we did food drives, clothing drives. One part of the time just collected crayons, used an old crayons, and then they made them. This is a science teacher that they have for the cardinal time, and they created new crayons and coloring books for Children's Hospital. So we did a lot of those types of things, and then they also had time for study hall. I did also mention in the seminar class, we also have a 20-minute period of reading. So every other day it's required in seminar that they read a book of their choice that they can select from our library or bring from home. And our kids really love to read here. And Barbara touched on it a little bit, but our kids do get into reading because Eileen does a fabulous job of selecting really great books in our library that are all different ranges for kids. But that's a requirement that we have during our seminar. Or they can have music lessons. So they could be, that's when the music happens. Or they have chorus. So there's, in that sixth period, there's lots, that sixth block, it's not necessarily sixth period, there's lots that are going on, and depending on what your child needs, that they either have seminar and cardinal time, or they have gifted and talented in seminar, or they have gifted and talented in orchestra. Not every kid is going to have the same thing. That's where the individual part comes into play. You heard that academic support instruction. That would be in place of a world language. Now, we have some kids that may need academic support instruction in math and in language arts. Again, that's where that sixth block comes in, or that sixth opportunity that they might be pulled during that time to get. So we really try to have a lot of different courses so that we're hitting kids where we think we need them, where they can be successful, and give them the skills that they need, not only academically, but socially, emotionally, to move through the middle school. Thank you. Yes. There actually is a district homework policy. I don't know the exact number of the hours, how much it counts, I think, yeah. Yeah, they're gonna have homework. And it's gonna, hopefully it's not gonna be busy work, but they are gonna have, every kid is different. So it's very hard because, there will be one kid that says they have no homework at all, and they go home and they do nothing. And they still have an A, and they maybe they manage their time differently. And then there are other kids that go home and they're meticulous, and it takes them hours to go over and review and double check and recheck and all of those types of things. That's why part of the time they do is a period where they can do some homework, but it's every other day. But there's homework, and it's not supposed to be about the busy work, but it's supposed to be about what they did get it during class, something that a teacher wants to renew. There is a lot that you're going to see in terms of where kids have to watch a video, comment, and respond so that they're ready for the next day. So they might not do physical work, but they might have to watch something so they're ready for the next day of class. So you see that in Study Island, might be some practice. We have lots of different softwares. I heard the big size Study Island now. Don't hit me, but we do have Study Island for language arts and for math that kids can access at home. They also can access their books, their textbooks at home as well. So our language arts, we use the Pearson guide, that they might be doing some things at home with that, online. I think the science book is online as well. I don't think social studies is online yet. Because we don't let our kids, I'm changing a little bit, going in a different direction, but we don't let them take their backpacks from class to class. Because they have their netbook, we have their netbooks, And they carry that, and they don't really necessarily need to carry their book, because their books are online, and they can access them in class, and then we also have copies in school. If I was watching Touchdown, I was like, what can we have in that backpack? I have no
The
idea.
laptops are here.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's gonna change. I think it is. Did that answer your question? They got homework. Yeah. And you gotta let them do it, and not do it, and deal with the issues of not doing it. And that's where, as parents, you know, we want you to be involved, and we want you to come, and we want you to be, checking your grades, but this is also the time that you do have to take a step back. You know, and have a watchful eye on them, and make sure they are doing their homework, because, and they're really slick, you know, you think they're doing their homework, but they're really kick messaging, they're Instagramming, whatever they're doing, and, you know, it goes really quick down and you can't see it, and you think they're doing their homework for 4 hours, but really it didn't even take them 4 hours, because they've been talking to somebody for 4 hours. So you do, and I would say, do it in the public area, in the kitchen, not in their bedrooms. You know, make sure you know where that computer is at night, the phone. Make sure it's not sleeping with them. I sleep with my phone. But make sure that they are not, you know, they don't need that. And they're two programmers who want all the time. Yes? They do not, that's the easy one, will be the last one. They don't move through this building together. They move on their own for every class. So where in the intermediate school, and I still think, I don't know if they actually do this in 6th grade, but I think they do. They walk with their teacher. That doesn't happen. You excited about that? Yes, we do, thanks. I appreciate that. But they don't do that here. So they have to get from first period to second period on their own. What's nice is that their classes are near each other. So that's the whole point of the house system. So your classes are either directly across the hall, most classes are either in the same vicinity area. There's a couple classes that are in the back. You know, there's a little bit of a grace period to get there. They can go to their lockers at any time in between periods. We highly discourage them to go between every single period. That's not a good use of time. They have 4 minutes to get to class. It is the same 4 minutes that they will have when they go there to the high school. So they will moan and groan that they only have 4 minutes here because they are social. They want to see their friends, they want to deal with their locker issues, whatever it is. It's more like a they walk slow. But it's the 4 minutes that they will have for a much bigger building there, so we are trying to train them to get them ready to maneuver a bigger building. So they can go to their locker at any point, but we try to say to them, you know, take 2 periods with you, especially if they're going to be right next to each other. Some kids will take that advice, some kids we have to walk them through it, and they have to figure that out on their own. Checkout. The checkout letters are actually our language arts teachers set up times that they actually go to the library with their kids, and the same thing with our seminar classes. And so there are special checkout times that are on a calendar that they go to and from, but at any time they can check out books. If they want more books, they can get as many books as they want. Have you got your totals for the year? Do you know how many you have? What's your, like one kid, like your highest kid? How many books have they checked out?
Oh, gosh,
Over 100. And they feed them. So, did I answer all 3 of your questions? Lunch. They don't sit where they can sit anywhere they want. In the beginning of the year, they don't know when they first went there, like, where do I sit? What do I do? They figure it out. Okay? And that's the hardest part. That's why I'm talking about the step back part. You know, it might be painful at first, but we really try to make sure that kids all are at a table. We don't let kids sit by themselves. We don't let kids be mean to other kids and tell them they can't sit there. So we do a whole orientation about the cafeteria in the very beginning. We do that at the orientation in August, and then we'll do it the very first day before they actually get to the lunchroom. We do like a practice run with them. But they're with all the people, you know, they can sit with their 5th period class if they want to, or they can sit with anybody else that's in the lunchroom. So if I'm a 7th grader and I want to sit with 8th graders, I can do that too. but they could sit anywhere. We only let 8 kids sit at a table. That's the one restriction. And every kid that sits at that table is responsible for the table. So if they know that their friends aren't going to clean up, they tend not to sit with them because then they're thinking they don't want to get in trouble. Or they clean it up for them. But we really watch out for them. We do, there comes to a point where the school year gets started and they kind of figure out where they want to sit, and we pretty much say that's where you're going to sit. And we'll write down everybody's names, we know where they are. If they want to switch, we can switch it, or if we think we need to switch it, we'll switch it. Okay, does that make sense? Anybody else? Okay. Activities. It goes back to the Facebook page, our website, and the daily bulletin, and then the phone dialers. The phone dialer, we don't really do the tryout piece, but the daily bulletin will have that. And if you look online, so either the Facebook or our regular page. Yeah. Yes. What's going to happen for instruments is we roll it over. Thank you, that's a good question. So if they're in orchestra and band now, at the intermediate school, I take that list and they're in band and orchestra here. The one thing I do, because I know that 300 kids are in chorus, and I know 300 kids don't necessarily want to be in chorus here, you'll get a phone dialer when someone's there and interested or you're not interested in chorus. But the band and orchestra kids automatically get rolled over. If you do not want your child in band or orchestra, email me and I will take them off. But you want them to do it. It's a good experience here. It's very different than the intermediate school. Yeah, not that it's not the bad. I'm in trouble now. Yeah.
You don't think
Probably not. The way that the schedule works out, we used to be able to do it at the end of the day, an extra. We're trying to figure out a way to do it, but we just haven't been successful in that. Anything else? Yeah.
One more thing.
That's okay, because she's a pro, that's why. She's got all the things I'm forgetting.
Well, people think if my child's in a house,
Yeah.
will they see their friends?
Yes.
I think they need to understand that they do see their friends throughout. It's not that they won't see with each other
Yeah.
if they're in a certain house.
They're mingling in the hallway. They're going to see each other that way. It also depends on the lunch, because even though we do have designated house lunches, we may have classes that have mixed houses. For instance, world language for an 8th grader. Okay, there's not enough classes to have just a Draco 8th grade Spanish class. So there could be Orion kids in there could be Phoenix kids in that class with them, based on the schedule and how it falls. The same thing when we get to geometry. We don't have necessary geometry on every single house. We have 2 teachers that teach it, and they're mixed classes. We actually also have kids that go to play school that take Algebra 2. So there is flexibility in that schedule right now. So the way that we have our trimester classes for art, music, and technology, they are mixed houses. The ideal is not for us to have mixed houses there, I will be honest. So we try to keep them 2 single houses, but we can't do that in every elective type of course. But in math, science, social studies, and language arts, you're pretty much on your house, and health and PE, you're definitely on your house. Everything else is kind of a toss-up. So if you're in band and orchestra, chorus, you're going to be mixed. That's a definite. And possibly in the world languages as well. But you'll see them. You see them in the morning when they come in. You can see them possibly at lunch. And you see them during the day, moving around the hallway. Yeah, did you have a question? Okay. If you want to be, if you have not been in it at the intermediate school and you want to be in it, email me, and then I will put your child in. Yes. There are two math teachers on every house, and then I have a floating math teacher who teaches on every single house. And then in language arts, there's a 7th grade language arts teacher and there's an 8th grade language arts teacher. The only teacher that they will have definitely for 2 years, unless they leave us, is science and social studies. We have one science teacher on every house, one social studies teacher on every house. You could have the same math teacher, depending on what you take and what that teacher's assignment is each year. So some of them will follow. So if a teacher has math 7, she may or he may have math 8 with the same exact student. It depends, again, on numbers and the types of sections that I have to have. Sometimes teachers will request that. I do my best to try to make that happen for them. But it's nice maybe not to have the same teacher if you're, hasn't been a good relationship, those types of things. But in language arts, they definitely have different teachers. Math, they could have different teachers. The science and social studies stays the same. I only have one art teacher. I only have one technology teacher. I got 2 music teachers. What else do we have? 1 Chinese teacher, 1 French teacher, 1 Spanish teacher. So that's what they have. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yes. They could. Yes. So for instance, I have my Draco teacher right now. She teaches 1 geometry, 7th grade, 1A. She teaches an 8th grade algebra, and she teaches a 7th grade algebra. So she has 4 different preps. And then the other math teacher on that house has pre-algebra 7, pre-algebra 8, and 3 math 7s. And then there's inclusion involved in there as well, with an inclusion teacher. No. They don't stay in the homerooms anymore. So they're mixed. I mean, the math is level by their scores, but language arts, social studies, science, everything else is a mix. And the computer pretty much does that for me. Once I set their math classes based on the recommendations, it gets plugged in, and then I just go boop, and then I deal with all the craziness. It's not that easy. It's a lot easier than I just said that, because I was dealing with it till August 19th last year before I was sweating it out before the schedule. I wish it was as easy as this time. Yes. You will get schedules probably about 3 days before the orientation on the 27th. I will probably be still doing it. It's August 27th, so whenever that Friday is, I will probably the last, it's going to go out in that last shipment, so you can be all waiting. It will not be up on Power School. You have to be home to get it. And then people start calling, Martha Shore, can you tell us their schedule? No. Sorry. I'm sorry? You're going to know, actually, in June 20th. You're going to know what math they're in. And then June 23rd, my phone will start to ring. Because you will have to do math packets this summer, you will know on June 20th. So on the report, we are working right now with the 6th grade math teachers to make recommendations. And once on the report card, you're going to have, and I think that's actually right on the report card, it will say what level, or you're going to get a letter from Yvette and I telling you this is the math packet you should be doing. So you'll know June 20th, around June 20th, or the following week. I hope to have it before I go on vacation. Then I go on vacation, then I'll come back with my phone bill. No, we will not.
Yeah, what we do with this, our intentions are to have math placement for 6th grade, or for 7th grade, on your 6th grade report card. In the event that we can't make that happen, there's reasons why that might not be available, that option available to us. As Mindy said, we will send a letter home. It'll tell you what your child's placement is, where to get the math packet. They're right on the website in that left-hand column with that. As far as the NJS scores, as I said, there are 4 criteria. There are NWEA scores, there are NJS scores, there's their marking period grade, and teacher recommendation. As I said, I'm looking for 3 to 4. So,
So
yeah.
based on fifth, but it's the fifth.
But it's the 5th grade ask that we're using right now. And as a matter of fact, all math recommendations are due to me by the end of next week. I've already done one teacher's class, I'm telling you. That's a secret. But, at any rate, what we do, especially for our students who were 2, you know, they had all the marking period grades, and let's say they had the NWEA with their NJS, like, we'll go back and look at everyone's 6th grade NJS to see if that criteria moves placement at any time. So Mindy is doing the schedule very late into August, because we don't get that data until early August. So we do go back and we look at the scores another time, and we say, okay, let's take out that Math 5 score that we used in June, right, from NJS. Let's look at it now using their actual 6th grade score, and does that impact placement? So we try to make the best effort we can to respecting and not compromising our criteria, but also using the most recent data that is available. We have their spring NWEAs right now. So we do that. And it's for some students, taking a second look at the new NJS score may make a difference in placement, and for others, it may not. And I know that some of you will be heartbroken, but they only missed it by. They missed it by 2 indicators in how many points. So we do have to, again, we created the criteria very purposely, and we honor the criteria that we have. So, some of you may get hard news, I don't know, but it's based on the
Now,
points and what we
it's
said.
based, there's very few that actually change based on the New Jersey app scores when we get them from 6th grade. We get them very late in August. And I'm always like waiting for them to come. And I'll be very honest, very few people have changed. And it's usually in the areas of 1A and 1. That's where you'll see. Math 7 is pretty much very consistent. You know, from the Math 7 Accelerated, which is the combination of pre-algebra, but it's pretty consistent. We don't see any movement really there. It's usually a 1A to a 1 issue, if there is a problem.
And I'd just like to talk to Algebra 1A, and again, I'm a parent, I know, I get it, we want the best. Algebra is known as a gateway course. You need to have a very solid algebra foundation to move through. You want your child to get to calculus, they have to be a darn good algebra student to understand calculus. So doing Algebra 1A in 1 year, half of the Algebra 1 curriculum, and then in the next year doing the Algebra 1B, for many students may be the strongest foundation that we can give them than 1 year shot. So again, I know it's easy for me to say, it's okay, they're going to get everything that they need. I do know as parents it's sometimes hard to receive that information. But looking at the Common Core standards and the amount of information, I'd sign my kid up in a heartbeat for a 2-year program. I really do, because of the depth, the rigor, and the amount of content that is in there. For those of you that did take a lot of math in high school, if you remember the word functions in Algebra 2, no, that's Algebra 1 now. Just to give you an idea of something that you may be familiar with, and where we learn that now. So it's I don't want to say it's different math, it's pushing some more complicated mathematics that we grappled with into lower grades. So again, sometimes it behooves students to have it over that longer period of time to get that grasp of the material.
We're going to take one more question. Yes. Okay, parent-teacher conferences, we have a back-to-school night in, beginning of September, and then we'll have, conferences in November. And you sign up online for the first session of, parent conferences, and it's kind of first come, first serve. And you meet, usually it's in teams with the teachers. We usually have more people that want to come than slots. So what we'll do is then we will arrange either for you to come in another day, or we can do a phone conference. This spring, we do by invitation only. And it's to get people in. However, we usually have slots that are open, so once we do the invitations, and then if people want to come in, then we try to accommodate them the best as we can. All right, if you have individual questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Again, June 6th, we will be here again at 9 o'clock in this room if you want to come. That's up to you. It'll be similar information. And then again, on August 27th, there's an actual time for you as well. And then don't forget destinations this summer. Thanks for coming out. We really appreciate it. We look forward to getting to know all of you.